Robyn Shephard. Welcome to our podcast. We are attorneys and practice as such at SchoemanLaw Inc. in Cape Town and Paarl, South Africa. Divorce is challenging enough without a business in the mix. Nicolene Schoeman-Louw and Hendriks joins me today to discuss how business owners can navigate this tough scenario. Ross, can you tell us, how does divorce commonly impact business operations?
Thank you, Robyn. So if spouses co-own businesses or contribute to its success, divorce can result in valuation disputes or cash flow interruptions. Just to elaborate on that, when we're dealing with spouses that are co-owners of a business, in the absence of a proper shareholders agreement, divorce can lead to significant uncertainty regarding the division of the shares. This often results in ambiguity about the value to be allocated to each party. Additionally, when we're dealing with one spouse who is an employee without a formal employment contract or salary, issues such as claims for back pay or recognition of contributions can arise, and this may lead to litigation outside of divorce proceedings, further implicating matters and potentially disrupting business operations. Now, this is why it's essential to have these agreements in place to ensure that there is no messy litigation or disruptions to that end. But Nicolene, could you possibly advise us on what protective steps can business owners take?
Thank you, Ross. Obviously, I agree with what you've said, that it's important to document. It's important to contract and to outline the expectations. We think that the other person knows, or we have an arrangement that is a crisis, for example, for a spouse helping out at the other spouse's business, for example. And then that crisis management becomes a norm, and we never adjust that into a document. And that's really where the problem deeply stems from. So I think documenting it, as you would do in any situation if it were not your spouse, would be critical from a business perspective. I also think that if it is your intent from the start of your marriage, to do business together, or maybe you started doing that before you got married, it's important to gain some inputs and legal advice on how you do your antenuptial contract. It's also important to look at your wills, for when we don't have a divorce scenario, but how to deal with our decisions and the planning around that during the marriage in itself. I also think that buy and sell agreements, particularly when both spouses start playing a really important role in the business, become crucial, because that then allows us to manage the risk if either party were to pass away or become ill. But again, that's outside of a divorce scenario. We also need to consider or be mindful of the fact that once the divorce happens or is starting to happen, we cannot think it's business as usual. The dynamic, the way in which we do things will fundamentally change. And therefore, it's quite important that as we're going through the process, not to lose sight of the fact that we've built this business together. It's okay if we say post our divorce, we cannot do this business together anymore. It's also okay if we manage to come to an agreement to say, we are able to do this thing together. And what does that look like? Because it cannot be the way it used to be. Fundamentally, that needs to shift. So I think we need to have these conversations, and we need to calm ourselves to the degree that we are able to have these conversations constructively, for the business sake and for our family unit's sake. So on that point, I think, Robyn, what do you think would be the main takeaways in this situation?
The main takeaway is to be proactive, to work with legal and financial experts to create mechanisms that protect both the personal and the business assets, as well as to remember to wear different hats and to separate the marriage from the business, or in this case, to separate the divorce from the business. Because as you mentioned, Nicolene, that when a divorce is instituted naturally, the dynamic is completely shifted. There's a different outlook on the marriage as a whole, and how does the business work. And of course, it's also very important to document that and to have a documented plan, just to ensure that the business can succeed post-divorce. So that's really the main takeaway. And thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Please like, share, and comment in the box below. And should you have any suggestions, please feel free to share them with us and join us for our next episode.